Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to read another story from the best of Fairy Tales and Fables that's illustrated by Eric Kincaid. If you remember last night, we read the story about the fox and the stork, and you can find that on the channel if you missed it and you want to listen to that story. Today I want to share with you the story of the three spinners. Let's see, here it goes. Once upon a time, there was a girl who could not spin thread. She could do other things, but she could not or would not spin. It made her mother very angry to see her sitting idle at the spinning wheel. "You lazy, lazy girl," she would shout, and then she would hit the girl across the shoulders. One day, when she was shouting, and the girl was sitting crying at the spinning wheel, the queen happened to pass by in her coach. She heard the girl crying and called to her coachman to stop the horses. "Why are you beating your daughter?" she asked. "Why are you shouting at her? Why is she crying? What has she done?" A queen's question should always be answered truthfully, but the old woman was too ashamed to say she thought her daughter was lazy. So she said instead, "My daughter loves to spin. I'm only a poor old woman, and I cannot afford to buy the flax. She cries because she wants to spin. I don't know what to do." "Your troubles are over," said the queen, who, as it happened, loved to hear the whirring of the spinning wheel and to see freshly spun thread. "I have plenty of flax at the palace. I will take your daughter home with me, and she can spin as much as she likes." Look at all that flax filling that whole room, top to bottom. The queen took the girl to the palace and showed her 3 rooms which were full from floor to ceiling with unspun flax. "Spin all that flax into thread, my dear, and you shall marry my son," said the queen. The poor girl did not know what to do. Of course she wanted to marry the prince, but how could she? She didn't know how to spin. For 3 whole days she sat and wept. On the 3rd day the queen came to see her. "Why are you weeping, child? Why haven't you started to spin?" asked the queen. The poor girl sobbed even harder. "I brought you to the palace to spin flax," said the queen. "I thought you liked to. If there's no thread for me to see by tomorrow, you will have to go home." When the queen had swept majestically from the room, the poor sad girl stood at the window overlooking the street and cried as though her heart would break. Presently, through her tears, she saw 3 strange women walking along the pavement. One of them had a very broad, flat foot. One had a lip that hung down over her chin. And the third had an enormous thumb. One of the women called up to the girl in the window and asked why she was weeping. "I so do want to marry the prince," she sobbed, "but first I must spin all of this flax, and I do not know how to spin." "If you will call us aunt and be unashamed of our strange appearance, and if you will invite us to sit with you at your wedding, we will help you," said the 3 women. "I shall be glad to call you aunt," said the girl. The 3 strange women were as good as their word. They slipped unnoticed into the palace and set to work. The one with the broad, flat foot worked the spinning wheel, the one with the lip which hung over her chin wetted the flax, and the one with the enormous thumb twisted the thread. Together they spun the finest thread the queen had ever seen. She was impressed, although she did think that it was the girl who had done the spinning, for the 3 strange women hid whenever they heard the queen coming. At last all the flax had been spun, and it was time for the wedding. When the arrangements were being made, the girl said to the queen, "I have 3 aunts who have been very kind to me. May I invite them to the wedding, and may they sit with me at the table?" Why, of course, said the queen. An invitation was sent on the day of the wedding. The three strange women arrived and were welcomed kindly by the girl and the prince. Tell me, aunt, said the prince, who couldn't help noticing such things, why have you such a broad, flat foot? Because I tread a spinning wheel, said the first aunt. And how is it that you have such a long lip? He asked the second aunt. Because I wet the spinning thread. And why have you such a large thumb? Asked the prince of the third aunt. Because I twist the spinning thread, she answered. The prince looked at the three strange women, one with a broad, flat foot, one with a lip that hung down over her chin, and the one with an enormous thumb. And then he looked at his beautiful bride. If that is what spinning thread does to a woman, I forbid you to touch a spinning wheel ever again. And so the girl married her prince, and the three spinners moved into the palace to take care of all the spinning. They loved spinning as much as the girl loved the prince, and so everyone was happy. The end. They don't give a moral for this story, but I think we could come up with one. Maybe not too. What can be an easy one is everyone has a different job, right? Not everyone's good at the exact same thing, but that's okay because we can work together to get the job done. See how they do that? She does one task really well, she does the other one really well, and she does this one really well. So they work together to get the spinning done. And then I think it works too, because look, it works for the prince and the queen and the princess now. They don't need to spin, right? She doesn't particularly like spinning. She's not good at it, but that's okay because there's other people who are good at spinning. We all can work together to take care of each other. Another one I really like is I like that the girl actually followed through on her promise to the three strange women. Don't you like that? She actually called them aunt, and she didn't pretend like she didn't know them. Once it was her wedding time, she wasn't like, oh, they're weird looking, I'm not going to talk to them. No, she called them aunt, and she introduced them to the queen and the prince, even though maybe they were like, oh, what's wrong with those people? Kind of looks like that's what the queen's thinking, huh? She's kind of going, oh, what in the world is wrong with your lip? Right? But it's okay. Look at, she didn't lie to them, you know? She treated them like people, like her friends, like her family, actually. Like they were her aunts. I really like her for that. All right, well, that is the story for today. I hope you all enjoyed it. We do a story at least once every day, sometimes twice. And if you hit the subscribe button for the channel, then you can get updates on the story. Whatever story comes out, whatever story is new, you can get updated right away. So be sure to click that button, the subscribe button. Alrighty, you guys have a beautiful day. It is looking gorgeous outside. Why don't you all go outside and play? I don't know, it's snowing here today. I wonder what the weather is like where you guys are. Well, if it's a beautiful day, you should go outside and play. All right, have a good day, everybody. See you later.